you before I then take it further.
Hi, Jean. I was just going to send you a message now. I'm just expecting a parcel, so I will be 2 minutes. If we can just wait for 2 minutes, and then I will come into the session.
Perfect. Perfect. So no problem at all. So for everyone joining so far, let's just wait for Bronwyn to rejoin us in about 2 minutes. But while we're waiting for her, my contact details, I'll also going to share the WhatsApp group link in the chat, so that if you want to join the WhatsApp group, and because on the WhatsApp group, I will also be sending the presentations, the recordings, and those kind of things. So please feel free to click on the link if you can, to join the group. Else you can send me a WhatsApp on my cell phone number, 0837908387. So yeah, before we start with the subject, we just wait for Bronwyn to tell a bit of some of the other services at Unisa and those kind of things. So so while I'm chatting, also we are recording it. It will be posted on the Western Cape portal. I will also post it on YouTube. Okay, cool. Yeah, is Bronwyn back? So you can take over, Bronwyn.
Thanks, Jean, and welcome students to your first BNU class. I'm excited for your part because you're under very good hands with Jean. Jean has been with us for a number of years, assisting students in BNU, QMI, DSC, those kinds of modules. So he's very, very knowledgeable in these topics and in the subject. Just before we get started, I just want to do some housekeeping. Please, during the session, keep your microphones on mute. You can see your cameras are disabled, so that you don't need to worry about. If you get asked a question by Jean, just raise your hand, and then he can go into the chat and see who is in the queue. And you can then unmute yourself and respond. You can also respond in the chat. As Jean has mentioned, all these sessions are recorded. I'm going to show you exactly where to go and find the notes and recordings. I will also share the links with you. And then please make sure that you've got access to the Western Cape Student Support site, because if you don't have access, you will not be able to access the notes and recordings. So please just make sure you do have access to the site. If you don't, then you can just drop us an email at ctntat@unisa.ac.za. But I'm just telling you this information. I will put it all in the chat so that you can go and double check and see if you've got got the access. So I'm going to quickly share my screen. And then I'm going to go directly into the session. So in order to access the Western Cape Student Support site, it's very simple. You just need to open your browser. You can see I'm here currently in my work account. So I'm going to go and show you how to access it from a student account, from a student point of view. So this is my student account. You can go and add multiple profiles on Edge if you want to. You can see there I've got my work and I've got my personal. I've got our CTNTAT, which is our designated email account, and I've got my student account all on one browser. So it's just different profiles on different browsers so that you don't need to change your logins every time. So this does help. It's very easy. You just go to set up a new profile and follow the prompts that go along there. If you have challenges, you can drop us an email at CTNTAT so that Sivu or Tabu can assist you with setting up your different accounts on the browsers. So once you're in your browser, it's very easy. You just go to My Unisa. By now, you should have claimed your My Unisa account. You should have access to your My Unisa, your My Modules. If you haven't done so, again, please drop us an email at CTNTAT. And then you just click on My Modules. Then this little message pops up. All you need to do is click on this link. It's not an error. So you just click on that link to access your portal. And it will sometimes, I've already logged in. So what it will do is if you have not logged in with your alternative account or etc., it will ask you to sign in. And then you just type your full UNISA email address. So your student number at mylife.unisa.ac.za. You click on next, and then you type in your My UNISA password. And then it will open up your profile. So if you click on my modules, you can see these are the modules that I've got under my profile, but there is the Western Cape region. So that is the one that I would like to have all of you have access to. If you don't, as I mentioned, you'll have to drop us an email so that we can add you to the site. So once you click on the Western Cape region, it will then give you a little overview. There you can see what our campus looks like. If you have not been to the campus, we'll give you an overview of the student support site. We've also got links to our Facebook and Twitter handle, or X. I should actually change that soon. So please do go and like for all our Facebook page. This is where we do post important announcements. We also post important events that students can come and join, be it online or at the campus. Then we've also got our high-level schedule. I will go into this just now. And we've got a little video on the different support services that are offered at the Western Cape, under the Western Cape region. Very important is our designated contact information. Now, this is very important. Please make sure that you send your emails to the correct email address. Do not copy in everybody, because then we don't know who is going to respond to you. So the best point of call is, because you are in the Western Cape region, if you have anything related to academic and ICT support, tutorial classes, My UNISA, My Life, at Numeracy Center, Writing Center, you can email ctandtat@unisa.ac.za. Any student admin related queries, applications, registrations, funding, exams, you need forms, an M30 form, you're struggling with, what else could you possibly have? Academic records, that kind of information. You send it to capetown@unisa.ac.za and to george@unisa.ac.za if you are residing within the George area. Any student counselling and career guidance services, you can email cptcounselling@unisa.ac.za. Very important, if you are doing a qualification and you feel that you have enrolled for the wrong thing, please do, you can, I just want to see who's not muted. Let me just see if I can mute, sorry. Okay, once again, please, if you are joining the session, ensure that your microphone is muted. Okay, so just to continue with CPT counseling, if you have enrolled for a course and you're not sure that this is the right course for you, you want to change your qualification, we often get those kinds of queries. That is a query that you can send to CPT counseling. If you need to choose your modules for your curriculum, let's say, for example, you're coming to the second semester, and now you need to choose your modules, you're not sure which ones to take, that is a student admin related query. Please do not get them confused. So to change qualification, you're more than welcome to email Chantal at CPT Counseling. If you also are experiencing challenges where you're feeling overwhelmed, you're anxious, you've taken on too many modules, you don't know how you're going to cope in the semester, you're more than welcome to reach out to Chantal. She will assist you with time management strategies. She will also assist you with how to deal with the anxiety and feelings of overwhelm. We've also got students that at times they go through different forms of loss, be it of a loved one, financial loss, jobs, etc. You can also reach out to Chantal. She can either refer you or assist you in an in-person session. She does counseling only by appointment in person, and then she also does online counseling as well. So you're more than welcome to reach out there. And then library services, so anything regarding your prescribed books, anything regarding you want to borrow or not borrow, you want to access journal articles, etc. You can then, or you want to know a little bit more how to reference. And you're going to be doing your second and third year, you're definitely going to have to reference and cite your work. This is where you can contact CT and Lib at unisa.ac.za. They do have a variety of workshops that they also host that give you guidance on how to use and effectively use the library online. It doesn't mean that you have to come to the campus. to borrow a book, you can borrow it online. There are some works that where you can borrow a chapter at a time, etc. So please just make sure you can, or that you are aware of our different email addresses and who to contact when you need the support. So that is just the emails. Then what we have further is the different tiles for the support services that are available to you. So under facilitation of learning, we've got the digital learning, tutorial classes, writing center, numeracy center. I'm not going to go into postgrad support. We're not there yet, but just know that when you get into your postgraduate studies, we do have support for you as well. So digital learning, you should have received an SMS or attended the workshop yesterday. There is another one taking place tomorrow on My Unisa and My Life Support. If you want more information on that, you can click on the digital learning. Sibu and Tabo will be there to assist you with workshops and support with My Unisa, My Life, Microsoft 365, Teams, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, that whole package. We also have open access computer labs that students can come and use. We've got free Wi-Fi, we've got internet. We don't go down when it's load shedding. We are open between 8 and 4 weekdays. We are unfortunately not open on Saturdays, but we do have a study space available for students on Saturday from 8 to 4 if you come with your own device. What I do recommend is that if you do want to make use of our labs, come to the lab before the time so that Sivu and Tabo can get you on the Wi-Fi. So I've mentioned that we've got the workshops. We've also got individual consultations that you can book with them. So these are online and they can assist you on a personalized or personally for any support that you need. We've also got online resources where you can go and self-learn or self-troubleshoot should you need to do so. So there is the booking or the consultation booking form. They are available on Mondays and Wednesdays for sessions or support. They are getting a lot of queries at the moment, so please make sure that you do get the necessary support you need. Alternatively, you're more than welcome to come to the campus. Then just their workshops. So if you click on this link over here, I'm just going to quickly click on it. So these are the workshops that they've got scheduled. You can see that the one that took place yesterday was in person. Tomorrow night is on Teams. It's only for an hour, and there's the link to join the session. And so we go that it's in person, and Thursdays it will be on Teams. These are repeated sessions. So please, if you attend one, you don't need to attend the other one. It's just going to be a repeat of the same thing. We're just targeting it now for students that need assistance in getting their My Life and My Unisa accounts activated. There's also a lot of students having problems with the Authenticator app. So this is where Tabo and Sibu will definitely assist you. Later on, we will be using, how to use Word to complete your assignments. So those are workshops later on. What I would recommend is go and highlight this, download it, highlight the workshops you want to attend, and then save it in your calendar so that you've got it on hand for you to, just do your planning as well. So just back into our portal, and it always is hiding away from me. No, let me go back. Okay, so that is digital learning. I'm just going to go down here to the different resources. So if you want to go and troubleshoot yourself, here are resources on what is My Life and My Unisa, how to claim it, how to access it, and then also the discussion forums and study materials. There's some information for you. And then the basic skills for online exams, closer to the exams. Please don't go and worry about this now. Worry about this from about the end of April. Okay, there will be a number of workshops coming your way on how to use the different proctoring tools, etc. So this is for, but if you want to go and just familiarize yourself, you're more than welcome to look at the basic skills for online exams as well. So that is digital learning in a nutshell. Just briefly with tutorial classes, we have not received the go-ahead for tutorial classes as such. The session that you are in now is an academic literacy session hosted by the Numeracy Center. So I'm just going to quickly go there first, and then I will go to the Writing Center. So the Numeracy Center is workshops that deal with anything with numbers. So BNU has got calculations, fractions, equations, graphs, whatever. It falls in this category. Same as accounting, the same as economics and statistics. So Everything that is to do with numbers, you will find under the Numeracy Center. Anything to do with academic reading and writing will be under the Writing Center. So that is your English. There's some law modules that we've got in there, but it's how to use it more in an academic sense. So those are also workshops that we have for students. If you want to go and look at our combined schedule of the Writing Center and Numeracy Center, you can click on this link and it will also open up a schedule similar to what I showed you just now for the digital workshops. Then let me just go back. Oh, I'm okay. Still in the Numeracy Center, sorry. So there is that schedule. That is very important. Go and highlight which ones you want to do. If you've got clashes, unfortunately, we've tried to avoid clashes as much as possible. That is why we record the session so that you can go back on the recording. And then the nice thing about these academic literacy sessions or these sessions under the Numeracy Center is that you can book a one-on-one consultation with Jean at a time that is convenient for both of you, and you can discuss a topic. So let's say, for example, you've gone and watched the recording and you're still not familiar with the concepts that have been discussed, then you can book a one-on-one session with Jean at a time that is convenient for the two of you. So he will give you, I think he has already shared his email address, and that is where you book your one-on-one consultation. Okay, then the schedule. So if you scroll at towards the bottom, we have our live weekly schedule. This is where we go and post announcements. So let's say, for example, the session tonight was cancelled. We will put a note up in this schedule to say that the session was cancelled. This is also where you can join the session and view your notes and recordings. So if you scroll to BNU, there you can see is the join session link or the button, as well as the notes and recordings. So I'm not going to click on the join session. You should have received an email. That's probably how you joined the session today, or an SMS with a link. We use the same link throughout. You can share it with other students. We don't mind. I know there are Telegram groups going around, etc. That's fine. We don't mind if another student from a different region joins. It's there for anybody. The notes and recordings, I'm just going to click on that and explain how this works. So under the notes and recordings, we've got the class notes folder, and then we've got the placeholder where the recorded sessions will take place. Please note that there's nothing now, obviously, because this is the first class. Once there has been a recording, you will see the date of when the session took place, and then a little YouTube video, so that we do download from MS Stream and then upload to YouTube. It's just a bit easier on data costs for our students. So we're also thinking, take your data usage into consideration. Then the notes folder, I'm just going to open there. So under the notes folder there, you can see Jean has already populated in the some PowerPoint presentations for you, as well as the semester lesson plan. So there you can already go and start plotting and planning against your calendar, which sessions are going to be relevant to you, which ones you want to attend, and diarize them in your study plan. So these are the sessions for tonight. Please always look at the date when it was submitted. This one was for the 28th of Feb. Jean, if I can just recommend to you to please put the date of the session in front of the presentation so that the students do have it. Then they can
Perfect, will do.
cross correlate which session goes with which note. Okay, so that is the notes and recordings. I will post the direct link to it for you in the chat. I'm just going to go back to the course, and if you scroll a little bit lower down, you can see all these different buttons. So if we just look for BNU, there it is right at the top. It will open up the same page. So it's just another way to access your notes and recordings. Okay, so that is the Numeracy Center in a nutshell. The Writing Center, I'm just going to go and show you quickly. So very similar. They've also got this little schedule. Just very important, if you look at the difference here, you can see under section and type, it says Writing Center. With Numeracy Center, it says Numeracy Center. This is just an easier way to go and see what is running under the Writing Center for the day, what is running underneath the Numeracy Center for the day. So these are the different workshops that they have hosted. And again, there's the link to the schedule. Again, we've got the buttons at the bottom. So I'm going to show you the events, workshop, and tutorial class schedule. So this is the high-level schedule, or the one that is combined with everything that's happening on campus, online, etc. So today we had, and I'm not too sure if the students on the call attended this session, but we had a counseling and career development workshop on how to be a successful online student. And there was the link to join. So we also sent SMSs out, but we don't send the SMS to everybody or else we're going to spam you. But what I'm trying to get through is, please make sure you go and check the schedule to make it so that you can see which other what do we call it, other events are happening on campus or online that will be relevant to you. Because it is, I think there's something like how to be a successful online student. Obviously, we are in an open distance learning environment, so this is nice just to understand what is expected of you as students. We've got a lot of students that come to us and say, I haven't received anything yet. When do I start? Basically with Unisa, as soon as you have registered and received confirmation of your registration, you need to start studying. Okay, so that is the high level one. You can see there's a lot of events that are taking place today, again tomorrow, and it goes for the whole week. So every week you can come and check our schedule to make sure that you've got a class number one and make sure that you are not missing out on other activities or events that are happening either online or at the campus. Let me just go back. So I'm just going to give a brief overview of the other, I've gone through those. I'm not going to go through community learning. So library services, as I mentioned, we do have library services, all their information there. You can see what their office hours are. There's the email address again. They've also got the training, so you can go and click on the training program. And then also they've got partner libraries. So if you are not within the Cape, you're living outside of the Cape Metropole, you may be going to Worcester. They do have partnership libraries there as well that they go and visit from time to time. Then counseling and career development. I'm just going to quickly go into Chantal's placeholder. So yeah, as I mentioned, we've got different topics: how to plan your career, explore careers, prepare for opportunities. So this is all to do with CV writing, preparing for interviews, etc. Then very important, managing your studies and strategies for accounting science students. So the manage your studies is a time management strategies. They've got planners there, resources that you can use, and how you can make informed decisions on your studies for the semester. And then they've also got towards the bottom their workshop schedule. So you can also click on there and see what activities are happening for career counseling and development. So please do go and look around on our schedules, on our portal. We've got a lot of information that's relevant to you as students living in the Western Cape. For students that are residing outside of the Western Cape, you are more than welcome also to just have a look, or you can either join the Western Cape region so that you have access to these resources. Then if you want to go through an in-depth discussion on the Western Cape portal and all the support services, we did do an induction on the 28th of Feb. There are all the topics that we covered, and we do have the recording under the student orientation tile as well. We've also got our student orientation that took place on campus and online. That was on the 24th with a link to the recording. And then also the orientation week, if you want to go and view any of those recordings. There they had discussions about assessments with the colleges, etc. So you are more than welcome to also have a look at those. So in a nutshell, that is the Western Cape Student Support site. As I mentioned, if you need assistance on the accessing the portal, you need to write an email to CT TAT. I am going to pop all that information into the chat. But I don't want to take up too much more time, so I'm going to hand over to Jean.
Cool. Thanks, Bronwyn. Yeah, and let me quickly just share back my presentation.
Jean, sorry, just
yes.
before we continue, I just want to get a thumbs up from the students. I'm just want to see that everybody is happy with the accessing the portal and they're happy with the presentation. Perfect. They think it's going to be okay. All right, there's a lot of thumbs up coming through. Awesome, great. So if you have any challenges, students, we are there to support you. There's no such question as a dumb question. Please write an email to CT TAT. We want to get you through the semester. don't feel that you're in the dark. Chantal will be there to assist you. Jean, myself, and Jacques will also be there to assist you. And from me, and this is the last time that I am going to be seeing you in your sessions. I wish you all the best. Just one important thing, you received an SMS now on yesterday, I think it was, for this class. We will not send reminder SMSs. I've shown you now how to go and access the schedule. I've also shown you where you can use that same link that we sent to you. Please make sure that the onus is now on you to go and plan your studies accordingly. So I've shown you where Jean's schedule is. Please diarize those dates. We will only be communicating now with you from to your MyLife email account. Sorry. So that will be any reminders or any cancellations that do come through, we will be sending to your MyLife email account from CTN-TAT, or either from myself, or if Ndima is sending it from dwani@unisa.ac.za. So please just keep a lookout on your emails because we do communicate to you as well. Thank you and have a good evening and a great semester.
Great, thanks, Bronwyn. Yeah, so for the guys joining, I think let's get the first thing out of the way is all my contact details. So please feel free, join the WhatsApp group. There is a link in the chat, or you can WhatsApp me and I will add you to the group. What normally happens is the presentation, like Bronwyn said, is shared in the Western Cape portal presentation. But after the session, what I do is, yes, it will be shared again in that portal, but I also share it on WhatsApp, because obviously as we work through, we're going to work through some questions, some things like that. So we will definitely be doing that. And then again, 2 email addresses. So you can use both for normal comms, but when you want to do a formal request that we sit for a one-on-one for a 30 minutes or something like that, then please use the Unisa one, because that is the one that Unisa also tracks. So it's just easier for them to see that being used. Then the other thing I just showed also, the link or the email that you can use to CTN-TAT. So again, please, you don't need to be part or sitting in the Western Cape. You can be anywhere in the country, outside of the country. You are allowed to be part of this. So if you know of any friends or anybody else that wants to be part of the sessions, you can share the links to them. What I normally do is we know now our sessions is going to be on Wednesdays. So next week sometime I will in any case also share the link in the WhatsApp group, so that you don't need always to have your computer with you. You can actually then join the session via your cell phone or something like that if you're in the WhatsApp group as well. Then let's go into it. Let me just and if somebody can share at a stage during the session in the chat or on the WhatsApp group. I know you guys that the BNU last year was a continuous learning, that you had massive amount of assignments to do and didn't write the exam. So if it is still like that, I really want to see how your assignment page nearly look like of when you need to submit assignments, so that we can schedule our sessions also according to that schedule nearly. So if anybody, please, you can even put in the chat or unmute and just say how it is at the moment. I think it is still the same as last year, that you have like 12 or 14 assignments. Some of them are big assignments, some of them are 5% assignments, and you don't have the exam. So if it is still like that, just give me a thumbs up. If it's not like that, we might need to change our planning. But if it is still like that, just give me a thumbs up. And then as we've been, I think the important thing is nearly to know when is your first assignment due. If it was already due, when is your, yes, Ashley, you can quickly.
Hi, good evening. I just want to say that at this moment, what I see on my Unisa, the first assignment must be in the 4th of March.
Okay, so that was 2 days ago.
That was 2 days ago, yes. And then what I also can see is that assignment 2 needs to be in by the 18th of March.
Okay. And can you see what assignment 2 is based on?
I can open it up here quickly if you just give me a second.
Good afternoon. If I can intervene,
Yes.
it's for chapter 1, 2, and 3. The assignment 2, it's for chapter 1, 2, and 3.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
And is it still the many assignments and then?
So what I can see is that only the 2 assignments, and then there is only on my side what I can see is only the 2 assignments, and then it's your material that you can like information, chapter 1 form, chapter 2 forms, chapter 3 and 4 and 5, and that's it. 6 and 7.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes, please go.
I think we have 5 assignments in total. For BNU, we have 5.
Okay, and you have an exam or not?
It said we will be informed. There's nothing written there. It said we will be informed.
Okay, so
They
then,
do say there is, sorry,
yes,
there
please
is
chip in. Yeah.
a mock exam. So the
Okay.
5th assignment is a mock exam, but they don't specify on the calendar itself.
Okay, so then they have changed the way that they're doing this. Okay, so that's good to know. So usually how the subject was that you had like 14 assignments that you nearly need to do every week, an assignment, but you didn't have the exam. So that was the positive about it. But obviously, if there's a mock exam, then normally that mock exam is a week or 2 before your actual exam. So they have then changed the way the subject is being graded. Okay, so then what I will then plan is that, so if I look at this schedule to get done by the 18th, so next week or even tonight, we will then do a bit more on chapter 2. We'll see how the time goes, so that we can, so I will change the semester plan according to your assignments, so that we have covered chapter 1, 2, and 3 before you need to submit the 18th. Okay, so I will change that at least. So next week, we will just make sure that we have covered by the end of next week everything up till chapter 3. So we will change a bit the schedule that you can that we have covered that. Okay, so it might be that tonight I will start with chapter 2 as well, so that we just make sure that we have done everything before you write the second assignment on the 18th. Okay, cool. So the other thing I will also, so what happens is all sessions are recorded. So if you can't make a session, it's fine. The recording will be available. What I normally do is after tonight's session, I will download it from my side as well. I'll put it onto my YouTube channel. What Unisa does is they will download it the same way. They will put it in that Cape Town portal. The difference is when you access the Cape Town portal and you access the data, it will be data free. Obviously, if you just access it on my channel, there will be, I think it will chow a bit of data, but it will be loaded earlier. So if you, okay, cool. Thanks for that assignment breakdown. So yeah, okay, so then they definitely have changed the way that they are grading this unit this year. Okay. Yes, I will share that as well. So I will share it on the let me quickly while I have it, let me share my let me just get it. I normally put it in I'll add it to all the descriptions on the WhatsApp groups as well, the handle. Let me just see where I have a copy of that to make it easier for me to copy. Okay, so it's also now in the chat, so you will see. So even if you go to my YouTube channel, there are previous sessions from previous years as well. So it is just adding and adding. So please, you can even go to some of the things that we did last year if you need to look at our next assignment. So yes, we'll do it here as well, but you can check on some of the old things as well. Okay, so let's get into tonight's the first chapter. So first chapter, we're going to look at nearly numbers and variables. And again, I will share all of this with you afterwards. So what we need to nearly do in this chapter is you need to identify the different kinds of numbers. In the syllabus, they talk about draw a number line, but you guys are your everything is online. So drawing a number line is nearly irrelevant. What they would probably do in that case is they might ask you to rank data. So I will give an example of that. Then we will look at rounding off of numbers. Then they will give you nearly like a word sum and would want you to write it down as an expression. And then they can also ask you to write things down again by the word sum using variables. So where they use numbers and variables, but we will go through that in this session as well. And then obviously in between, there is some exercises taken from previous previous year's papers. So again, closer to exam time, we're not going to worry about it now, but closer to exam time, I will share previous exam papers. If there is any formulas that we need to look at, what I normally do is I create that one page of formulas so that you have that at hand. All the exams are now online, so sometimes they allow you to print stuff out to have it. But we'll see how this one pans out and what you later are allowed to do and not allowed to do. So let's go into numbers. So a quick summary of what is captured in numbers, and that's why you will see a lot of the things in here is what I got from the internet. So it's very nice to get some of the pictures because it does explain something very simpler than some of the textbook stuff. So if you look at your study guide where you need to work through that first section of how they explain what is rational numbers, what is your in between irrational numbers, what is natural, whole, and integer. So I always feel it's much easier if you see something on a picture. So we can look at something like natural numbers as any whole number except 0. So the only difference between whole numbers and natural numbers is that there are not a 0 involved. Okay, integers is positive or negative numbers. They put in something like a square root, but that square root needs to be able to give you a whole number. So if it was the square root of 50, that would not have been the integer, it would have been an irrational number. So just be careful looking at this picture, because a question that they can ask you in the assignment, and since you have done assignment 1, if anybody has any form of that, you can send it to me. We can always, since it was based on chapters 1 and 2, we can always put some of those assignment questions into our next session. It was handed in already, so it's not that we're breaking any laws of UNISA. So please, if you have any of those questions of assignment 1 that you might have struggled with, please share it. When you do assignment 2, and I think they normally tell you not to take pictures. I'm not 100% sure how they structure the online things anymore, but nothing prevents you from taking a print screen. So print screen, paste it into a mail. You can send it to me. We're not allowed to, while the assignment is active, share questions on WhatsApp or anything like that. But if there's a question you struggle with, there's no reason why we can't do after the assignment was submitted, why we can't look at it. In the end, what I want to do is prepare you for the exam. So what normally also happens by exam time, a lot of the questions that are in your assignments are being reused in the exam in any case. So it will be good that if you at a later stage want to share, please do. Okay, so a question that they could have asked you is they could give you, say something like this. And let's put just in another one. And they could have said, that's A, B, C, and D. Which one of the following four is not an integer? Then we know that the square root of 9 is 3, so that is an integer. Square root of 16 is 4, so that is an integer. Square root of 25 is 5, so that is an integer. So that one is not an integer, because the square root of 14 will be something like 3.4567, whatever, and that is not an integer. So it might be that they ask you this type of question in that way. The other way that they can ask it is they can just say 7/8. Is it a whole number? Is it a natural number? Is it an integer, or is it a rational number? And you need to say A, B, C, or D. So that is another way that they can look at real numbers and ask you a question. Then on the number line, this is now just to show what a number line looks like. But again, what I've seen is, and let's put in a new slide, and then we can I'll just show you what I have seen in previous assignments. So what they've done in previous assignments to nearly check if you know about the number lines is they would give you, say, number 66, 6,06, 6,66, 0,6, 0,606. And to test that let me just quickly, don't know if it's only on my side that the screen now has gone smaller. Okay, so then for them to test if you know the number line, they can ask you a range, or they would give you 4 options and said, arrange these numbers from smallest to largest, and then they will give you the 4 options of numbers that are arranged. So one could be that they say from smallest to largest, sorry, it's a bit badly written. And I'm not now going to add all the numbers, but they can say that is one of the options. They can give you 1 or 2 other options, and then you need to pick which one is the correct one. What they also, and that's why sometimes why they also say don't, and you will see if you're on Telegram, they will normally mute Telegram when it is assignment time. I don't really muting, because what they also would do is they have different, they can ask the same question but differently. So it might be that Ashley gets one type of question and Ria gets another one, where Ashley gets one that says smallest to largest, and Ria gets one that says largest to smallest. And then by sharing on a group, question 1 is A, it could be that you're actually getting even different questions. And so that's why we're not even, so very difficult. It will be nearly the same in the exam time. You will get different papers nearly. The questions will not be different. So it's not that they're going to ask more difficult questions in another paper, but it might just be that options A to E is also shuffled differently. Okay, but this is a type of question how they can phrase it for you to test the timeline. Another way that they can test it is to say, and this was one of the questions in a previous exam paper, is that they said, okay, every rational number, so is rational, so what does rational mean? And then they said, okay, but it includes, this is natural numbers, this is whole numbers, this is integers, rational numbers, irrational numbers, so, and real numbers. And then they said, okay, but every rational number, is it all whole numbers? Is it all real numbers? Is it all natural numbers, or none of the above? So what I thought is I would just have used this. So I would have said, okay, all rational numbers, it include integers, it include whole numbers, it include natural numbers. So if we go back, it include whole numbers, it includes natural numbers, but real numbers includes everything else. So the one that is then not the correct one is real numbers. What they have started to do, and please, when you do your first assignment, let me know, they started to exclude the none of the above. So please, the guys that have done assignment 1 already, there was a lot in the decision sciences, but the last option was always none of the above. And at a stage, they were phasing it out. So it just would be nice to, if anybody at a later stage can just give me feedback on that none of the above. Okay, so this is a way that they can ask a question. Another way is that they can ask it, and this was again also from an assignment. We did not look at prime numbers within this, but a prime number, the definition of a prime number is a number that can only be divided by itself and 1. Okay, so a prime number can only be divided by itself and by 1. So that is nearly, if nowhere in the study guide it is mentioned, I just thought, let's just add it, because you can see that they've asked a few things around prime numbers. So which one of the following is a prime number? So you guys can, in the chat, even quickly say which one do you think is a prime number? Cool. Perfect. 19 is the prime number. So again, 14 can be divided by 2, and more numbers. 15 can be divided by 3, and more numbers. 18 can be divided by 3 and more numbers. 19, the only one that can't be divided by anything else except 19 and 1. Okay, so let's, the second one. Now they nearly bring in, so if you have set 18 in this one, you probably would have set 18 again. Okay, so what they tend to do as well is that they repeat some of the options so that if, unfortunately, if you made the mistake in the previous one, you will nearly repeat it again. So again, when we look at which one is the prime number in this set, so we now know 18 is not a prime number. Which one of the other 3 is? Okay, and the numbers are coming in. Perfect, 23. And again, why 23? 21 can be divided by 3, can divide it by 7. So it's not that. 23 can only be divided by itself and 1. 24 can be divided by 2, by what else? 12, 6. So there's a lot that 24 can. So again, prime number, it basically divides by itself and by 1. What they also like to do is, and in different subjects, they word it differently. So I know with stats, they ask it quite a lot is to say which one is the incorrect one. Here, what they did is which one is not prime. Okay, so then it becomes a bit more difficult because, trust me, in exam time, one very easily don't read that not. And you then says, but okay, then anything else. So which one is not perfect? The numbers are coming in and you write, it is 28. Okay, 28 can be divided by 2, can be divided by 14, and probably 7 or something like that as well. 29 can't, 31 can't, 37 can't. Yes, so please check the WhatsApp group. Let me, so the guys that, I will quickly share it again because it might be that some of you are, if, and that is also important why you guys need to send a email to CT and TAT, because if you are part of a Western Cape portal, you can see the chat. If you're not part of the Western Cape portal, you will now, like what's happening now, when you join the session, you will not be able to see the previous chat. So please, I will also share that you please send an email to, I'll just copy, I just want to get to that email. Please send an email to ctntat@unisa.ac.za with your student number. So please rather use your My Life account because that has your student number in it. Please send it to ctntat because then you will get access to the Western Cape portal, even if you're not in the Western Cape, and then you will be able to see all the previous chat, because what happens after the chat, there is also going to be a link to the recording, which you can sometimes access. So important that you nearly get access to the chat. So please use and send to CT and TUT, but also please join the WhatsApp group. Cool. So looking at prime numbers, then what they are going to ask you is to look at rounding and rounding of numbers. So what I've just copied in here is an easy way to look at how to do it. So if I've got a number like this 6,14741, and they tell me to round off to the third decimal. Okay, so they want us to round off to the third decimal. It is very easy to follow these steps. So underline the digit that you need to round off to. So we need to round off to third decimal. Look at the digit to the right. Okay, so we need to look at that digit. If that digit is higher than 5 or higher, we will round this up. If it is 4 or lower, the digit will stay the same. And perfect. Our answer is 6,147. Okay, so and they can, what they would do is, again, because it's multiple choice, they would give you options. So they would give you a 6,147, they might give you 6,148, because if you made the mistake of rounding it up to the next one, they will give you 6,146, because it might have that you said, well, I can't round it up, I want to round it down. So they will give you all the options in that 4 or 5 answers, even if you made a mistake, you think you're right. So just be very careful. But I thought this is a very nice way of looking at the easy way to round off, especially if it now becomes where they might do, and I think I've done it here, is now suddenly they give you the same number in 2 or 3 of the questions, and now you need to start rounding it off to different decimals. And then this is a perfect example of how it might have already been in assignment 1, but going forward, how it will look like as well. So round off to 3 decimals. So again, you guys can come in and say what your answer would be. So we would look at 10,99458. So we need to round it off to 3 decimals. Underline that decimal that we need to look to round it off to. Look to the right of it. It's a 5. If it's a 5, we'll round up. It will be 10,995. Okay, so there it is. And you will see if you kept it the same, there is the option. If you rounded it up to 1 more, there is an option. And if you by mistakenly rounded it, that you checked the 458 and rounded that to the nearest 1,000 maybe, you also get a weird number. So there will always be this one option that doesn't make sense at all. And then there is normally the 2 or 3 that is very close to your answer. Okay, so the next one, 2 digits. So now we look at still at your original numbers. We need to round it off to 2 decimals. We look at the 4. Great. So answer 10,99. 4 is less. We keep it the same, 10,99. So again, look at, so there wasn't a 10,98, but what they did is, if you rounded that up, this would have become 0, that would have become 0, that would have become 11. So they give you an option for 11. If you maybe set, okay, that's a 4, so that needs to change to 0, but that is nearly a weird one, and 10,10 is just totally, again, wrong. So you can see nearly there is in this 1 or 2 that's very close, and 1 or 2 that is just totally wrong. But again, it makes it very difficult because again, when you press for time in the exam or even your assignments, I don't think your assignments, but for the guys that have done assignment 1, was it time-based? Or is it that you are allowed to take 3 or 4 hours? Or is it time-based that you had 15 or 20 questions that needed to be completed? Okay, so it was not time-based. So at least then you're not pressured in the assignments to now quickly go through the questions to get it. So exam, obviously time-based, yes. And I think also in your assignment, you will have more than 1 attempt. Cool. And you can also just confirm, was the 2 attempts different questions, or was it repeat of the first assignment? I assume it was different. Oh, the same. Okay, that's quite interesting. Okay, so some have different, some have the same. Okay, so that is fascinating. So there is obviously an algorithm in the back that you won't know when you do it if it is the same or different. So you can see in the chat, some of you guys got the same set of questions, some got different ones. So again, very difficult when you guys are doing it to really cheat on it, because if it is different and you have different sets of questions, you might say question 1 answer is option 3, and then you actually had way different questions. Okay, that's interesting that it is, yeah. So, and Elise, that is how the exam will also be set up, so that you will have different questions. The order of the questions will be different, but it's not that the one paper will be more difficult than the other one. So it might have been that in the assignment or in the exam, this is actually one question. And for some of you, they will ask this one. For some of you, they will ask this one. And for some of you, they will ask the third one. So that is just how we're doing. And a lot of the the decision sciences are like that. So if you do any other subjects like later, like QMI or DSC or anything like that, it is built on nearly the same engine. So they nearly have a system already in place where they just change the question. So just and that is just a way to eliminate some of if you wanted to cheat in that way, because I just don't want you to do that. Okay, last one, round off to 1 decimal. Okay, so we need to round off to that decimal. So we look at what is next to it, and this is probably more of a difficult one out of the 3, because with that being changed, that will go from 9 to a 0. That will impact this one to go from a 9 to a 0. So your answer will be 11. Okay, so again, if you look at the 3, probably in this number set, a 10.99458, the most difficult one was to round it off to 1 decimal, because if you round it off to 1 decimal or to a whole number, in this instance, it was the same. So again, there we are. Now you can see again, 10.9 might have been 20 is just totally out of sync with the number set. And if you have looked at that and said, okay, but that becomes 1 more and you up it with to a 1 and still say 11.9, you might have gotten that one as well. So again, one that is very close, one that might by some weird form you can get to, and one that is just totally out of sync with the rest of the answers. Okay, so that was nearly looking at rounding off. Then the third piece in this is that we're looking at variables and constants, because we will go to write expressions, and the way that they will ask for expressions in the next 2 slides, we'll work through examples there as well. But the one can be that they want to write, you maybe need to write the expression out like that, with them just giving you information, or what they also want definitely do is they will give you a sentence. In the old days, the words some kind of problems, and out of that you need to nearly phrase a expression. So that's the 2 ways that they can ask you to look at the expressions. And then obviously bringing in variables and any of these real numbers nearly. So they can include any of that for you. But let's be honest, they're not gonna ask you the square root of 5 or things like that. And we'll go through a few examples. It will be more about 2x plus 3 plus whatever, and you need to simplify the expression. Okay, so here are, but let me quickly, sorry, I just want to duplicate this, just make it that we can all read it. Oh, that's better. And just want to do the same with the second piece that we at least it bigger. Okay, so here they're giving you a nice word sum, and they want you to rewrite it as an expression. So sometimes they add the rand because we're talking about cost. Sometimes they don't, so don't let that nearly, if it's not, they would just say, write it down when X in terms of rand. So don't worry really if the rand is with the expression or not. It is more about the expression. So let's look at the first one. Suppose an ice cream costs twice as much as a chocolate. If an ice cream costs X rand, how much in terms of X does the chocolate cost? Okay, so think about that a bit. Suppose ice cream costs twice as much as chocolate. So if a chocolate is 1 rand, ice cream is 2 rand. Okay, that's for me the easiest to do it. And then if the ice cream costs X rand, how much in terms of X does the chocolate cost? Okay, so be careful when you answer this one. Read that again. The ice cream costs X rand. So if an ice cream costs 2 rand, how much in terms of X does the chocolate cost? Okay, so a lot of you guys say 2x. Okay, got x divided by 2. Okay, so we're going here with basically all possible answers. X plus 2 rand. Anybody want to go for the 2 divided by x? Okay, so we've got 2 divided by x as well. Okay, so the easiest to look at this one is how much, if my ice cream is 2 rand, how much is the chocolate? Okay, so if my ice cream costs 2 rands, my chocolate cost 1 rand. Okay, so then in terms of X, if X is 2, 2 divided by 2 gives me 1. Okay, so nearly try to find a way of writing that formula that you get to the answer. So we know that the ice cream is 2 rand. We know that the chocolate needs to be 1 rand. So how do we need to formulate it so that we can get from 2 rand to 1 rand? We divide by 2. So here they've done, and by all the answers that we got, this one is the most easiest to make the mistake. If it was the other way around, so if the ice cream costs 2 rand, how much in terms of X does the ice cream cost? Then it is different. Okay, so here they wanted to go to what is the chocolate cost. So then you need to nearly get from a 2 rand to the 1 rand. And how do we do that? We divide it by 2. It's difficult because, again, I take myself, English not my first language. So if again, in the BNU and all the decision sciences, it is a lot to do with the phrasing of the questions as well. So you will, at a later stage, when we look at bigger than, smaller than, there's things that they just in the wording can confuse you. And here it was because they basically used the other way around nearly. If it was straightforward, ice cream is X, how much in terms of ice cream, then the formula just flows easily. That is spot on. The wording is very confusing, and that is why specifically with these word sums, and luckily there's not a lot of them, but specifically with the word sums, the wording is always very tricky. Yes, session is recorded and it will be shared. Okay, so let's look at the next one. And again, it would be interesting to get from you guys, when you now did assignment 1, what I also like sometimes is to give a statement or give a problem and have a follow-up question on that. So here again, referring to the above, suppose John buys a chocolate and an ice cream. How much in terms of X does he pay? So now suddenly, if you had that wrong, you probably will get this one wrong as well. And again, I don't like it that way, because now suddenly you have lost 2 marks, where if it was a straight new question, it would have been different. So again, from your experience of assignment 1, was there any questions that nearly used some of the previous information? Because for the guys that said 2x, you probably would have gone to this formula. The guys that said x plus 2 might have gone to this formula. So again, nearly the one mistake will lead to the other one. So how much is it? So again, let's look at it. We actually said it here. There's 1, there's 2. So in total, it should be 3 rand. So how do we get to 3 rand? If x was 2 and the other one was 2 over 2, we will get to 3 rand. Okay, so option 2 would have been the right one. Unfortunately, if you used that, you probably would have said x plus 2x. That is what I would have done, because that is, and if I said x plus 2 in the first one, I would have probably not said 2. I would have probably said x times x plus 2x. And again, unfortunately, in some of these papers, they do repeat questions on one another. Okay, was there somewhere a question that somebody wanted to ask? I thought I saw a hand, but okay, not when we can just continue. Okay, so now again, they refer to previous questions. So refer to question 4 and 5. How much change will John receive if he pays with a 50 Rand note for the chocolate and ice cream? Okay, so we had that the formula was x plus x over 2. So in this example, it's actually terrible because if you had of question 4 wrong, you would have had question 5 wrong, and you probably would have had question 6 wrong as well. I don't foresee in your exams that it will have something like that, but don't know sometimes in the assignments. Okay, but now that we have that, if he pays by a 50 Rand note and we subtract what he is buying, we will have the answer.
That's so cool.
Okay, so now what? Yes, it is. And that's why please tell me if it happened in your assignment 1. I hope that they have changed the way that they have been doing it. Yeah, it's not great. If you get all 3 right, it's something different. But again, I think it is cruel. So just let me know in your assignment 1 later on if it was done like that, because then okay, so you were given okay, that's not great. Okay, so we got option 1. Check the brackets out again and see if option 1 is the correct one. Okay, so very important, and that's why I included the brackets, so that one doesn't make the mistake of going for option 1. So remember that we multiply the minus n. So it is option 3. Okay. Why not option 2? Because here they say, assume that the cost of a chocolate and the ice cream is less than 50. Okay, so we must assume they tell us, so that's why we don't subtract it, but we subtract the chocolate and ice cream from the 50 Rand. If they did not say, assume that the cost of the ice cream and chocolate is less than 50, then option 2 would not have been a problem to select, because they have not said to you if it is more or less. Then you could have said, well, it might be that I was paying more than what I got. So option 2 is only correct if I did not add the assume that you need to that it's going to be less than 50. Okay. Then at last, a new question. So again, let's read what it is, because I already see numbers 38, and when I look at the options, I see 8. I don't see a 8 there. I don't see a 50. So let's see what they asked. A cast iron rod is 50 meters long. It has to be cut in 2 pieces, such that for one piece is 8 meters long. And let's reread it because I read it wrong. it has to be cut in 2 pieces such that the one piece is 8 meters longer than the other piece. Suppose that the longer piece is 8 meters. How long in terms of P should the shorter piece be? Okay, so let's say, and let's rather, I want to draw it other way, then it's easier to. So let's say that is your total rod. It's broken in 2 pieces. The longer piece is P. The other piece is cut in 2 pieces, such that the one piece is 8 meters longer than the other piece. Suppose that the longest piece is 8 meters long. Okay, so if the longest piece is 8, how long is the other one? And again, sure, I now needed to read that 3 or 4 times. So again, sometimes it seems easy. Okay. So let's look. That whole piece is 30. If the longest piece was 8 meters longer, so let's say it's P minus 8. So do we say this piece is P minus 8? So if that is 22, that must be 22 minus 8, which is 14. So let's just rethink if it, and I might now also be wrong. So let me just take different numbers. If we set 8 minus P, see, so it can't be 8 minus P, because then what we're going to do so let's quickly look at if it is something like that. I might be wrong, so let's just quickly check. So if we do that, P plus 8 plus P is equal to 30. We can, and what is nice, we can always put the formula in place. So we take that over to the 8 over, so it's minus 8. So 2P is equal to 24. P is equal to 12. Let's just see. If I add P there, 12, I get 20, and I get 12. Am I making a mistake here? And let's quickly just check. I just want to make 100% sure that we're getting this one right. So, because we have all the answers thus far between, okay, so the one thing that we know is that it is 50 meters long, or so it has to be cut into 2 pieces, that the one piece is 8 meters longer than the other. Okay, so if this piece is X, the longest piece must be X plus 8. So if it was 6, sorry, if it was P, it comes down to the same principle. Ah, okay, I made the mistake with the calculation. Okay, so same principle. So how long in terms of P should the shorter piece be? Okay, so take the 8 to that side. So it will be P in terms of P minus 8. So that's an easier way to. It doesn't matter at all if your formula is different. Again, I think, and you guys can, so the answer is option 4. If you guys can just come in again, I think you guys are writing multiple choice. Yeah, so it's multiple choice. So it doesn't really matter how you do it. If you get the right answer, you get your marks. In a sense, again, unfortunate if 20 questions counts to 100 marks and each question is 5 marks and you've worked out a lot of work and somewhere you made one silly calculation error and suddenly you get 0. That's unfortunately the negative about the multiple choice, because one question counts more than 1 mark. So unfortunately, that is sometimes the negative about the multiple choice. I think your assignment was also probably open book, so which does make it possible, and that's why I want to get through by, and we will by next week be finished up until chapter 3, so that you can use these notes. I think somebody said some of these questions was maybe even used in some of the, or the same type of questions was used in your assignment. So if we pre-prep you, you're allowed to use these notes. So there's no problem in looking at it. Every Wednesday, 5:30 till 7:30. This evening it was just that Bronwyn from Unisa did the intro. Next week we have full 2 hours, so we will use the full 2 hours. Every session is recorded. Every session I will share after the session, the recording and the presentation that we're working through. So it will be in this chat and everything, but it will also be, I'll share it on the WhatsApp group as well. So no problem at all. I think that is, it's like Bronwyn said, we're here to assist. So I want to prepare you guys as best as possible for the exams. Okay, last two, so that we just on chapter 1, we can finish it, but I will then just start off with chapter 2 as well. But next week we will cover the rest of chapter 2 and chapter 3. Okay, so let's quickly look at this one. I'm only going to do question 8. You guys can look at question 9. We can chat on the WhatsApp group. If somebody that has access to, awesome, just send the link again to anybody that has not access. We can just quickly continue. And if somebody that has access to the chat can just copy my cell phone number again as well, that will be great. Okay, so in this one, John travels X kilometers in 3 hours at a certain average speed. An expression in terms of X for the distance that John travels in 5 hours at the same average speed is. Okay, so a bit different. So John travels X kilometers in 3 hours. So what I normally would do is say, okay, in 3 hours, he travels X kilometers. So in 5 hours, how much would he have traveled in terms of X? Okay, so again, which one of these do you think is the right answer? Okay, so let's narrow it down. It is definitely between option 2 and 3. Yes, there's a question.
No, I wanted to give an answer. Is it not 5x kilometers?
Okay, so it's not, but let's go through the thinking process here. So, okay, so that is nearly, so let's say he did, and the easiest always is to test with a number. Okay, so let's say he traveled 10 kilometers. So if he in 3 hours traveled 10 kilometers, in 5 hours, how far would he have gone? Okay, so if we set 5x, it not 100%. So if we set 3x over 5, it actually, so let's get a rounded number. Sorry, let's not use 10. Let's use, because of a free, let's use 30. So if in 3 hours he traveled 30 kilometers, it basically means that in an hour, John traveled 10 kilometers. How far would he have traveled in 5 hours? 50 kilometers. So that is where one might make that mistake, because we went from 1 to 5. But remember, we're going from 3 to 5. Okay, so it is the 5x over 3. So we didn't go from 1 to 10, we went from 3 to 5. Okay, so that is where the difference comes in. So in 3 hours, you will have traveled 30 kilometers. In 5 hours, you would have traveled 50 kilometers. But to put it in x, it is 5x over 3. Okay, so that is where the big difference comes in. If it was at the beginning 1 hour, then it would have been 5x. The video will be shared on WhatsApp, and it will later be shared in the Cape Town portal as well. So yes. Okay, so let's start over. And I think that is important. So and that's why I always want to use, when I look at this, and please always say, repeat or re-look. Okay, so they tell us that John travels X kilometers in 3 hours. Okay, so I love to work with numbers, because if you work with a formula, it's sometimes difficult to work with a formula. So I would say, okay, but let's replace that X with 30. So in 3 hours, he is traveling 30 kilometers. They tell us that John is traveling at the same speed. So think about it again. We've divided it by 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours. So after 3 hours, he is sitting at 30 kilometers. After 2 hours, that would have been 20. After 1 hour, he would have been at 10. If we add a 4th hour, he will be at 40. And if we add a 5th hour, he will be at 50. So they ask us, after these 3 hours, so can you guys still see my screen? It just went blank and now it's back. So just please tell me if it's still okay. Awesome. So if they ask us if it was reference to the 1 hour, then we would have said, okay, 1 hour, it's 5x. But they're referencing the 3 hours. So we need to go back to a 3 hours. So if we set 3x over 5, that will actually mean that he has traveled, and we said x is 10. If we work it out, 3 times 10 is 50 divided 5. So that means he actually has traveled 6 and not 10. So it is the 5x over 3, because we take back the 5 to the 3 and then multiply it by x. So it will be 5 divided by 3 times x. So it could have been, they could have written it as 5 over 3 times x. Here they've now write it 5x over 3. So it can be positioned differently, but that is where it comes down to. Does that now makes a bit more sense? Is that a bit clearer? So this is, and I think that is what, if it was already asked in assignment 1, that was probably the most difficult questions in assignment 1, is these types of questions, because it's really, I I don't want to say the difficulty is not in what you need to do. The difficulty is actually in how they phrase it, and the words that they use. And that's why you will see a lot of times I will always reference nearly back to, let's just put the number somewhere down and let's look at it in terms of that number so that one can make it easier. And it's nearly what, as we go through all of these chapters this whole semester, that is what I will nearly guide you guys as well. So I think next week we'll focus on chapter 2 and 3. So let's not rush this now. We have next week much more time as well. So what I will guide you guys as well towards, and some of the times we will get to questions where there's two options that we can just eliminate straightforward. So I will show you how to look for those certain things as well, because I think that is important that you guys, again, in the assignments that's not timed, you basically can work out the questions. Your mock exams, suddenly it becomes a timed mock exam. And then because it's a timed mock exam, then suddenly you see, oh shucks, now I need to rush through questions. And then obviously the exam is just more pressure on you guys. So that's why we will get to questions that I will show you how to save time and how to start eliminating things. But we will get to that. Okay, we've got 9 minutes left, so let me quickly, I am going to just quickly share the WhatsApp group again. That for the guys that have joined a bit later, but also for the people that will see the recording somewhere. So the first one is nearly that you can send me, and let's go to the first page. You can send me on my number 083-790-8387. You can send me a WhatsApp to be added, or you can follow the link that is going to be added now to the chat. You can also click on that link and automatically go to the WhatsApp group. Okay, guys, so so next week we'll start at 5:30. No introductions from Unisa side. We will just go straight into chapter 2. I will make sure that we cover both chapter 2 and 3 so that you are prepared for your next assignment that's due on the 18th of March. So no problem. I will also, like Bronwyn showed, I will add the presentation 2 is already in that folder of the Western Cape. I'll add presentation 3 there as well, but I will share it with you on the WhatsApp group as well. The other thing for the guys that don't have access to the Western Cape portal, please send to CTN-TUT an email from your My Unisa account or My Life account, and they will add you to the portal. You don't need, and I want to reiterate that, you don't need to be in the Western Cape to be part of this. The more the merrier. in the end, we want to get you guys to pass the subjects. So the more people that wants to join, the better. You are allowed to share the links wider than this group. Please do it, and you can join via the links, and yeah, we will communicate. We will communicate the rest on the group. It's also fine. I have access to the chat. So like some of the students have now asked me to add, please put in just your cell phone number in there. I will add you if you could not get through on the link or on my WhatsApp. Don't worry, add it. And I will add you to the group. Okay. Okay, that is it for tonight, everyone. Hope it's adding value. There, I think your lecturer might also have sessions with you. So again, the more time you get to spend with lectures and with me and going through examples, the best. So use any opportunity that you can to get access to this. The recording will be posted on the WhatsApp group. I will share the link. I'll share the presentation as well. Okay, so that is it for tonight. Thanks for such a great group. It is amazing. Last year we were struggling to get students to participate